Hello, lovelies. I'm back. This is Kimberly Purpose, and welcome to my channel. I found another article that, it's actually a couple of articles I wanted to talk about. And this one is about how DNA is passed down, memories from your DNA is passed down from generation to generation. Um, the reason I thought this was very fascinating because there, you know, as American Aborigines, a part of our heritage, understanding spirituality, is dealing with communicating and healing from ancestral wounds, especially as African Americans, aka American Aborigines. There's a lot of wounds that we need to heal from, such as the transatlantic slave trade, which was pretty much told to us in reverse. And also from losing our land, being prisoners of war, and things that's still going on today, such as the Jim Crow laws and the Dawes Roll that was put in place to keep us from getting what was intended to be ours. And yes, and so I know with the indigenous people around the world, they always mention that um, you always need to heal and communicate through your ancestors. You need to use spirituality to honor your ancestors and everything. And we never really tapped into that, especially with Christianity. Christianity sort of stripped us from that particular way of thinking. And, that's why I share with you all about the meditation cards, praying, meditating, finding ways to connect with your ancestors and with spirituality and everything. And whatever religion you practice, or if you don't practice any, ways to connect to a higher self. I do that for a reason. It's not to try to steer you all away, or scare people off, but it's just that you know, as American Aborigines, that's what's missing, is connecting to our ancestors. And this science, our ancestors already knew that it was important to connect with spirituality and your ancestors. But when we was introduced to and indoctrinated to Christianity, that particular way of life or a way of spirituality has been removed from us. But I wanted to share this scientific article because it's showing through science, it's Emory University research that was done that has proven that there's something to DNA, memory, and ancestry and spirit. All that is a science to it. It really is. It's not just spirituality. It's more leaning more and more towards science, and science is starting to prove that our ancestors were correct about the power of spirituality and connecting with your ancestors at a higher level. And I think that's part of the things that's missing with us from healing. There's a professor, I believe it's a professor, that did a study on the post-traumatic slave syndrome, PTSS, that we are going through. And this explains it. It's been passed down from generation to generation. And since slavery been around and this land been conquered this thing been going on for 400 or 500 years, that's a lot of trauma that we have experienced for centuries as a group of people, as American Aborigines. But anyway, I'm not going to read all of this article. I'm trying not to, because it's very long. And it was another article I wanted to share with you all as well. But it says here, science is proving some memories are passed down from our ancestors. See? And this was written by Aaron Case. It says, do you have a fear of spiders, maybe snakes? It may be your ancestors trying to tell you something. Recent studies have provided evidence that memories of fear are one of the many things our forebears passed down to us through DNA. A 2013 study from Emory University found that mice trained for fear odor would pass their emotions on down to their offsprings and future generations. Scientists applied electric shock to mice as they exposed them to the smell of cherry blossoms. The mice then bred, and both children and grandchildren of the affected rodent demonstrated fear of cherry blossom for the first time they smelled them. Our results allows us to appreciate how the experience of our parents before even conceiving offspring markedly influenced the structure and function of the nervous system. In subsequent generation, Dr. Diaz of Emory University Department of Psychiatry and the Daily Telegraph, such as phenomenon may contribute to the etiology and potential intergenerational transmission of risk of newer psychiatric disorders such as phobias, anxiety, here it is, and post-traumatic stress disorder. So it tells you right here, they found that there's a correlation in these emotions and feelings and psychological disorders been passed down from generation to generation in lab mice. And so it's been proven that there's something there in this research. And it continues here. It says the study went beyond just observing fear reactions. Scientists actually looked at the brains of the animals and found physical changes in areas of process orders, and also found a marker on the order genes of the mouse in DNA. So they're showing that some kind of way that we're connected to our ancestors through DNA. So it's more to it than just, oh, it happened in the past. These emotions, these feelings, these disorders, we as a group of people need to learn how to heal ourselves. And I think one way is doing it through spirituality and healing. That's one way. There's many other ways to do it, but I just wanted to share with you this article, how it's been proven. Let's continue. It says humans have been long. I'm skipping through, because I want to get to the other article. It says humans have long sought to understand memory and hereditary, nature versus nurture, and how much information parents actually transmit to their children. The nature study is another study towards answering our answer about exactly what and how much of our forebears' experience get passed down through DNA. And then, of course, they go down here, and when you stroll further down, it talks about primordial fears. And then it says rewriting the DNA and beyond physical realm. I think I'm going to stroll down here. I'm going to leave a link to these to you all, so y'all can, read this article yourself. But, okay, of course, right here, rewriting DNA, fear isn't just only things that get imprinted in our genes. Recent breakthrough have been big strides in understanding epigenetics. That's a new science that they're doing, y'all. Dealing with DNA and passing along memories and stuff through DNA. And also the study of ancestry as well. And it says how DNA gets changed by environmental factors. And see, it talks about how the environment affects it as well. Then they go on and talk about the disorders and stuff that passed on. This is mostly talking about the physical problems that occurs. I think in this article it mentions Crohn's disease. But let's scroll down. I'm going to skip over that. I'm going to leave a link so y'all can read that part. And then I want to go to here with the physical realm. It says here, beyond the physical realm, the idea of memories being written into DNA could provoke speculation about phenomena like visions of past lives might be linked to go from a reaction to odor to the recall of a specific and discrete memory. See, these are theories right here of how these things are passed down from generation to generation. And then I'm going to skip down to the bottom. It says here, I understand the lead to conclude that there's something beyond that we can see and touch, says Tucker, UVA magazine. But there is evidence here that needs to be accounted for. And we look these cases carefully. Some sort of carrying over to memories often makes the most sense. He calls it the science of reincarnation. Whether he is on the right track or we discover the memories are passed down from DNA all along, or there is some other mechanism we don't know yet, is still to be determined. So science is starting to support that there is something to the DNA passing down different psychological issues or physical elements that might be passed down from generation to generation. And I think with us as being American Aborigines, the stress and the trauma that our ancestors dealt with from slavery has definitely been passed down. And I think that's why we see some of the issues that we see today in culture, and how we live, the missing father, in slavery, the fathers were always mating with all the women or sold off. So sometimes men act that way, thinking that they can sleep with everybody, some of them, not all. I just say some, or the women being stuck with raising all the kids and, always having broken homes, nobody getting married, black women being sexualized. You see them in videos shaking their booty on rap videos and all on TV, and and it's been stemmed from the past hurts and pains that we felt from a long time ago. And I think it's important that we heal from that, from these, generation, it's, understanding how it's passed down from the past and it comes down, maybe we can find a way to change that. But I hope I'm getting y'all to understand the correlation and connection to this. But once again, I know I mentioned this book before. This is a really good book. I know, I'm hoping y'all will, I'm enjoying it. I don't know if you all will, but I'm actually enjoying it. What I like about this book by Denise Linn, even though I don't think she's a full-blooded Indian, I think she's a half-breed Indian. I've seen a picture of her, but she's considered Native American, not Aboriginal American, but a lot of the natives took on our identity as Aborigines in these federally recognized Indian tribes. And so, because we were kicked out, they pretty much took us off with Dawes Roll and replaced us with the half-breeds and the $5 Indians. But I think she's one of the half-breeds that was fortunate enough to stay on the tribe. But anyway, this is her book. It was a really good book, and it's great for connecting back with your indigenous roots and heritage. But in this book, she also touches on, that's how I got this idea from, how DNA is passed on down. According to this book, Native Spirits as Sacred Practices for Everyday Life, Kindling the Native Spirit. This is great. I love this title. It tells you how to reconnect to your indigenous roots, pretty much. And it says here, interesting, recent science has been giving credence to the idea that memories can, in fact, travel through the generations in our DNA. Researchers from Emory University Medicine in Atlanta have shown that it's possible for information to be inherited biologically through chemical changes that occur in DNA. During the experimentation, they learned that animals could pass on learned information from stressful experiences subsequent generations. In one case, the fear of smell and cherry blossoms. This suggests from scientific perspective that earthbound cultures have already intuitively known that experiences can be transferred from the brain into the genome, all allowing them to be passed on to later generations. Professor Marcus Primbre, a geneticist at the University College of London, said that the work provided compelling evidence for biological ancestral transmission of memory. So there's another doctor here in London, Dr. Primbre. He's a geneticist. He, University of London, saying that these DNA, is passed down through DNA. from the ancestors. And so it's something definitely to this. And this book sort of talks about and touches on it. That's where I got the idea from, to talk about this subject matter, how science is starting to show more and more evidence that there's something to what our ancestors were saying was connecting to the to our ancestors, and tapping into the indigenous root. And I just noticed that in today's religion, with us being indoctrinated and following the Christian religion, that's something that has been taken away from us and that we don't normally use anymore. And I think that's what's missing. And that's something that we need to reconnect. We haven't healed our old wounds from the past. I say almost 500 years worth. And that's something that we as a group of people need to definitely reconnect to, and that's why I do these spiritual videos, to try to, get some ideas and sharing on how we can reconnect to our ancestors and to our original spirituality of healing and being more connected to earth. I think that's where we lost our foundation from. That's a big part of it. But I'm going to I'm going to come on over here to this BBC video. I hope you come along with me. Yay, I did. Here it is. I'm not sure when this date was put up for this particular article, but I'm going to put a link to it. And it says here, this is more research. The ghost in our genes. The scientists who believe that genes are shaped in part of your ancestors' life experiences. And it says biology stands on the brink of shifts of understanding of inheritance, the discovery of epigenetics. Hidden influence upon the genes could affect every aspect of our lives. At the heart of this new field is a simple but contingent idea that the genes have a memory. See? Says a memory. The lives of your grandparents, the air they breathed, the food they ate, even the things they saw can directly affect you decades later, despite you never experiencing these things yourself. And that you do in your lifetime could in part turn affect your grandchildren. You see, y'all? It says, this is a really good article. Let me see how long it is. I might read through some of this. But it says the conventional view of DNA carries to our inheritable information nothing individuals does in their lifetimes will be biologically passed to their children. To many scientists, epigenetics amounts to a hearsay, calling into answer to accept the view of DNA sequences, a cornerstone on which modern biology sits. See? It goes, and then I'm going to skip on down. I might go towards the end, because I wasn't intending for this video to be so long. And then it says here, let's see here. It says in Reeks, for shown switches in themselves inherited. Let me see. That's talking about the environment. Let me skip on down. Let's go down here. It says that the idea that inheritance is not just about which genes you inherit, but whether those that switch on and off. The whole new frontier in biology, it raises questions with the huge implications and means of search that will be on to find what sort of environmental effects can affect these switches. And then it just goes on. It says, after the tragic event, September 11th, 2001, that's 9/11, you all. That happened in New York. And it says, Rachel Yehuda, a psychologist in Mount Sinai School of Medicine in New York, studied the effects of stress on a group of women who were inside the near World Trade Center and was pregnant at the time. Oh my gosh. Produced conjunction with John Seeke, the Einberg Doctor of Results, suggests that stress effects can pass down from generations. Meanwhile, research in Washington State University points to toxic effects like exposure to fungicides, pesticides, causing biological changes in rats, persistent for at least 4 generations. Wow. That is really interesting. Oh, me. It says this work is in the forefront of paradigm's shift in the scientific thinking, and it changed the way a cause of disease are viewed, as well as the importance of lifestyles, family relationships. What people do no longer just affects themselves, but can determine the health of their children and grandchildren in decades to come. We are, as Marcus Prembry says, all guardians of our genomes. See? And so what's going on environmentally, psychologically, physically, all is passed down through genetics. And so that's why I wanted to share with you all. That is very important. And I think part of the reason why there is still a chronic generational problem psychologically, especially with the post-traumatic slave syndrome that we face today, is because we have not healed ourselves, and we're not tapping within ourselves spiritually and mentally to heal ourselves and reconnecting with our ancestral roots. I think when we go back and learn how to connect within ourselves and learn our spiritual roots and our indigenous roots and heritage, and learn who we are as a group of people, the closer we will get to healing ourselves and become become stronger and become a better group of people. I think a lot of that is we had our history erased, our identity has been stripped, and I think that a lot of us have heard the history, the stories from our grandparents about, oh, you're related to this tribe, you're Indian, you're connected to this tribe. Learn who your tribes are. Talk to your grandparents, talk to the elders in your family, learn more as you can about your indigenous roots, your heritage as a group of people. We need to, those stories are very sacred and it should be passed down, and we should listen. That was their way of trying to tell us who we really are and giving us some sort of identity here in the Americas. But I would love to hear what you all think about these articles. I will definitely put a link below. And till next time, peace, family, and be blessed. Peace. I'm on lightjohnson.com. I have another channel. Feel free. You can post there. Sign up and subscribe to my channel there. I also have a Facebook page and also a community there. Please feel free to join. And I have also a Patreon, a GoFundMe, and a PayPal as well. So I look forward to hearing from you guys. Peace, family. Bye-bye.